Hello, doll community. Welcome back. This is Sheila, the PA Doll Lady, and today we're going to be talking about the ugly truth when buying doll collections and what you should be really paying attention to when it comes to buying items from, different places. This particular one comes from Facebook Marketplace, and this particular collection was advertised as a personal collection. And that means that it is a collection that was owned by the person, and they should have intimate knowledge as to the condition of the item that they're selling because they're claiming that this collection is theirs. Now, I don't understand why you would say that something is from your personal collection when clearly all the indicators show that it is not true. Um, when first I went to one collection, I was ecstatic the other day. There was two collections that popped up in my area. Within the same day, I managed to go to both places. So the first one was a, in quotation mark, closed 80s doll shop. And the collection was presented as pretty much new old stock. What is new old stock? So, new old stock is when you are buying a doll that is from the 80s, 90s, or, just like 20 plus years ago, and that doll had never been removed from its box. Um, what new old stock is not is when you remove your dolls, you display them for years, and then you put that doll back in the original box. That is not new old stock. That is not. That is just a vintage item. So when we're saying new old stock, we are discussing something that has never been removed from its packaging. Um, you received it for Christmas, you bought it or whatever, and it stayed in that box for the past umpteen years, right? Had never been removed. That is what we consider new old stock. And that carries a premium because the new collector may either want to buy that to display it as is and not remove it, or they want to have the joy of opening and releasing the doll for the first time in 20 or 30 years. So that does carry a premium. And that is what I thought I was buying. As it turns out, we are processing the collection at this point, and what we're finding is that this was not, in fact, a new old stock situation. This was the dolls were displayed and they were placed back in their original boxes. And it is my failure. I failed to ask multiple questions. I thought when I was there that, the story was that this was a old doll store. They had been upstairs in the box since forever. Um, that to me sounded like it was from the store to the storage. And we had a lot of conversations and talked about the doll store itself, but not the fact that these dolls had been removed and displayed and have collected dust over the years. And now, as we're processing the collection, we are noticing that there are things that clearly show us that these dolls were placed back in their original box. They were not in new old stock condition. So it's almost similar to when you go to a store to buy something that's brand new to you and then go into a thrift shop. You may find it new at the thrift shop, but it's not really new. Um, and that's what we have going on. So the point of today's video is to hopefully have you, the doll collecting community, learn from my lessons and not have to pay the money that I paid, thinking that I was getting something that clearly is not new old stock. So some of the key indicators were now that I'm looking back. Um, Even when you go in to buy a collection that appears to be new, you may just want to open up that lid from the doll, remove, try to remove the packaging and see if it is in fact new. Because in my case, they were placed in the box and they appeared like they may have never been removed. But as we're opening to closely inspect some of the conditions, what we're finding is that no, they were probably displayed and put right back into their original containers. But like the little plastic things that hold the dolls from back in the 80s or 90s, those were retwisted, not like new, like when you're opening a package and you can see that the manufacturer has it all nice and neat and it's twisted in the back. No, these are like retwisted and put back in. Um, would I be interested in the collection and would I want the collection that I bought? Yes, I would have wanted the collection. Would I have paid the money that I paid for it, knowing what I know now? Absolutely not. And if I would have seen, if I would have inspected closer and seen some of the condition issues, I probably would have walked away. So, hopefully, this video helps somebody to not take a seller's word, and to do your due diligence. If you're new here, I have a doll shop. I have been doing this for 4 years, and even I did not pass the sniff test this past weekend, twice over. So, um, right now, I am on recovery mode. I am upset. I am feeling duped. I am angry, um, because I will not pass these items as new old stock to my collecting community because I know that they are not new old stock. This is items that were displayed and put back in original boxes. They are not new old stock. There's a huge difference and a huge value difference. So, in good conscience, I would never do that to my customers and say something that is not true. Um, so that was collection number one. I do have, I think, out of everything that I did purchase with that collection, I think I might have one or two items in the collection that were truly vacuum sealed. Absolutely nothing had been removed from its original packaging when I took the packaging off, because at this point I don't trust anything um, that is coming from the collection. So I opened up everything to make sure. And so there was about two items, three, I think, that were actual new old stock items that had not been removed from the package, that clearly came from the manufacturer and had been in the original container the whole time. So that is lesson number one. And man, what a gut punch. I was so excited to offer them to my community as, new old stock that I thought it was, but it's not. So I will offer it as a vintage item, which is the correct designation for them, not new old stock. Um, and the value is drastically different. So at this point, collection number one is a total bust, and I am working on regaining my initial investment. And I think that it's going to be one of those lessons where, um, you know, I won't be doing that one again. And I hold myself totally responsible for it, because at the end of the day, I'm the buyer. I should be more diligent. I should be inspecting things, even if they're said to be, new, never removed. That this lesson, is one that I will not be repeating again. Um, so, very upsetting, even though I was extremely excited to bring this to my customers. It's old vintage stock and it is about half the price of what I thought it was going to be. So serious gut punch for 2026. Um, collection number two is a collection of antique dolls. This one, the person proclaimed that they were her personal collection. Um, when I got there, um, the way that the items were stacked up kind of gave me the, I don't think this is true. Um, Again, I don't fault the person who is selling it. I fault myself for not walking away. What I should have done was, you know what? Your story just doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to pass. That's what I should have done. What I did was, I'm like, well, maybe I could get my investment back by buying this one or that one, or by selling this one or that one. So, because I drove 2 hours away from my house to see this collection, and I believed that it was a personal collection and that it was well taken care of, I seen some signs that were not making sense, like the story was not making sense. And instead of walking away, I justified to myself that I had driven 2 hours, so I was just gonna make it work. And I sit here in shame and like, ugh, so angry about not walking away. I should have just walked away. That's what I should have done. But I didn't do that. And I'm hoping that talking about it and expressing the fact that I feel duped and angry um, will help somebody in the community not get taken like I was. So let me show you kind of like what I'm talking about. Um, so here we have a vintage, well, she's not vintage, she's antique. So this is an antique doll, and she was on the listing. It said that she had been light tested, that it was her personal collection, blah, blah, blah. Um, and I knew that some of them needed repair, and that's totally fine. Hey, you know what you're buying? No problem. Okay, so for anybody that's new, light testing means remove when you remove the wig, okay? You remove the wig and you try to remove the pate. This is called a pate. So this is a mohair wig and this is a pate. Um, so when we say that we have light tested a doll, it means that we have removed the wig and we will remove the pate and flash the light in here so that you can see that there's no cracks in the porcelain and no crack in the bisque. And that is something that most reputable people will do. And if you're selling a doll brand new, like you don't know that this is what you have to do, no problem. However, this person has a 4.9 rating on her marketplace, which yeah. Anyways, again, I hold myself accountable for it because at the end of the day, I could have just been there and I could have looked at all the cues that were not adding up and I could have just walked away. But I didn't because I drove 2 hours and I justified, I'll just bring them home. Anyways, so this here girl is proclaimed that she was light tested. And in order to light test her, you need to take this off. Um, and then you would flash a light here. Her whole face lights up and you can see that there's if there's any damage whatsoever. So she has a glued on pate. So I'm not exactly sure how they were talking about light testing her. Giving the person the benefit of the doubt, they could have put the light through the eyes and said, oh yeah, that's how I light tested her, in quotation marks. But that's probably not a real assumption. So I will have to carefully remove her wig and then you know, light test her and make sure that she is in fact not broken and that kind of thing. Um, and when I said I was having a conversation and I'm like, oh, which dolls do you collect? And she's like, oh yeah, I collect um Bruise or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. So what dolls are these? And she's like, oh, they're like Armand Marcel. And like from looking at her face, I knew that she was not an Armand. Um, again, I don't blame the seller. I blame myself for not trusting my gut instinct that it was a lie. I knew it was a lie. I was like, yeah, that doesn't add up. But and she's like, yeah, these are my personal collection. I'm very picky. I make sure I have the best of the best, blah, blah, blah. Just, kind of like using the language as if she's a real doll collector or whatever. Um, Complete and utter bullcrap is what I'm going to call it. But I bought it. So it is my fault. It is not their fault. It is my fault because I ended up not walking away. So please, when you're going to buy collections, do a thorough checklist. And this is what I'm going to be doing going forward. I'm going in with my little notebook and if the things don't add up, I am walking away. I could drive 8 hours from this point going forward. I could drive 8 hours to see a collection, and if things don't add up, I'm going to turn around, save my money, and save my shame for another day. I will not be doing this again. So I got caught once, and that's okay. It's just the price that we pay for learning the game. She will be a beautiful girl once her eyes are replaced. I believe, I believe she might be a Kessner. I will have to check. I think she's a Kessner. She, she is stamped 1123 in the back. So I will have to look a little bit more into her and try to determine who she is. In fact, she does have an adorable face, so um, I'm not upset that I grabbed her per se. I just think that I should have done better. 4 years into the game, I should know not to get emotionally attached and to just, if you smell the crap, just walk away from it. Um, but I didn't. I bought him. This is the second one that was supposedly light tested. Again, there's a pate on her. This thing here is a pate. Um, this one does have her eyes. So how are you light testing when there's nowhere to light test, right? In order to light test it, you need to either make a hole here so that the light goes through and shines on the bisque, or if we want to give credit, the person says that their eyes are not there and you can shine it through the eyes and then see that there's no breakage. Um, so this girl here is an Armand or AM Marcel doll. I don't see any damage to her, but I automatically knew that there was no way that she had light tested her. Um, Unless, I guess you can. I'm trying to find a way to give this person the benefit of the doubt on light testing, which I don't think that was something that happened. I guess you can try to put a light through the mouth since it's slightly opened. Um, but this one appears to not have any damage, so that one's okay. Um, there's actually, her hand was replaced. So this one was one of the ones that was proclaimed as no damage, and her hand is replaced, and you can see it is replaced. So that's that one. And that one, was claimed to be an Armand or an AM, that is true. Um, then I have this one here. Uh, Supposedly, she was light tested. Again, her eyes are there. Um, this pate does not look like it has been removed at all. Actually, it's not even a pate. It's more like a like tape something or other. And it doesn't look like it's been removed. She is a Florodora, which is an AM original. She has a beautiful little body going on here. Um, and her hands look okay. Um, but supposedly no cracks, no anything, this, that, and the other. And you could clearly see there's a line going across here, and there's a color change. There's a color change in the bisque. So she may have been repaired at some point and then repainted to kind of look like she was uh, to look like, you know, make her look as normal as possible. So again, how did you light test this when this hasn't been removed? And clearly, now that I shine her to the daylight, you can see that there's a line. There's a line coming across here and a line coming across there. Now there was a bunch of these. It wasn't just these three. These are just the examples that I'm putting out here so that you can see what I'm talking about. And hopefully you don't get taken and you ask more discerning questions. At the end of the day, it's my responsibility to be a very picky shopper, to not trust the stories that are being told, that I need to be better in my inspection of the items that I'm bringing. And also, I have struggled with the whole I'm already here, I might as well just get it, we'll figure it out type of ordeal. Um, I've struggled with that for a while, and I've been in business for a long time. I like to believe that most people are honest, and that has been my experience. You know, in the doll community, for the most part, people are very honest and they will say, you know, hey, it has this damage, it has that damage. I've repaired this or I did that. So when it's a personal collection, most people will know everything about their dolls. This person, it was not a personal collection. They buy collections. I see on Facebook that they now have other dolls that they're listing and whatever. And I look at it this way: you got me once. Hopefully that money is worth whatever it's worth. But to me and to my community, um, I would not want somebody to feel the way I'm feeling right now, which is it it's a very sour taste. Um, because I'm willing to take care of the girls and get them back to as best as possible. You know, get them back to restoration. If they need restoration, there's plenty of collectors that are willing to restore. Just don't sell things in a condition that they're not. I think that that's the message. And for us, the buyer, more important is the message to tune out the story and do your due diligence in inspecting, and really, you know, um, if you're buying one of these dolls, you should start inspecting from the top. Is it original pate? Yes or no? Can you remove the pate? Yes or no? Um, if you can remove it, then you can automatically put your phone up against the head, put your light on, put your flashlight on, and then you could visually inspect her. Because I'll tell you what, if I would have done that, but you can't because it's thoroughly glued. So there's, again, the story was false and I bought it. But anyways, had I put my phone light against it, I would have clearly seen the repair line that is down here. Um, then you look at their eyes. Are their eyes okay? Do they have lashes? Do they close and open? Because she also proclaimed, oh, all of them have stuff, you know, to protect them. They have their head all stuffed and whatever. Had I just bent her this way, I would have seen that her eyes were closed. Therefore, that again was a lie. You did not stuff her because her eyes would not be opening and closing if you did stuff her. Um, Again, my fault. I take full accountability for buying a story so far into this game. Um, anyways, then the next inspection is their body. You know, how are their hands? How are their joints and that kind of thing. Her joints are okay. Her hands look okay. You want to look at the outside of the hands and also the inside of the hands, because sometimes they will chip on the inside. So from there, you go down to, like, you know, are they bendable and that kind of thing. Usually these guys will have some kind of boo-boo somewhere along this body, and there will be some kind of leakage, is what we call it, where there's a little bit of a hole and their sawdust starts to come out. Her legs and her feet look really good, so that's good. Um, I could have picked this one up and thoroughly seen that there was some kind of math going on. It's probably from an auction house, and they were um, making some mathematical whatever on there. But this body overall, the body looks beautiful. It looks to be in beautiful condition. I can probably just replace. This is what we call a shoulder plate. As you can see, there's a plate in here, and you can open them up here and just pop this out and then replace it with another doll that is in better shape than she is. Or I can just sell her as is and make sure that I'm honest about the condition to my fellow buyer or my fellow community member. So that is what I have going on. I thought this past weekend was, or it's not a weekend. It's always a work day for me, so I can't tell you which day is a weekend and which day is not. But um, this past couple days, I went to pick up these two collections, and I was ecstatic and everything about it. And it is just now sinking in that it both collections were less than ideal. Both collections, I missed asking vital questions, and I missed believing my gut. I knew that something didn't feel right, and I justified buying them anyways. And when we do that, we pay the price. We pay the price of not being diligent enough. And the video is not to blame those people that were selling the items and representing them as is. The video is for me to remember that this feeling really stinks and I don't want to have it again. And therefore, I will be super diligent going forward, um, because I'm not going to sit here doing this video over and over. Um, so, you know, sometimes we just have to pay to get a nice gut punch. And hopefully, my experience and putting my shame out there of not doing my due diligence enough will help somebody else to um, make sure that they don't get emotionally attached to the situation. And even if you drive 8 hours and the story doesn't make sense, get back in your car. At least you will have saved your money. Don't waste your money and your time. Don't do what I did this past weekend or this past week. And even when the stories seem fitting, verify, verify, and verify. And when your gut is telling you that something seems off, take your money and just go elsewhere. So that's my lesson. Hopefully, um, my lesson is not one that anybody else needs to share. Thank you.